So the last modifier we're going to cover in this section is the Array Modifier. And what this does is that it duplicates and moves your mesh a designated number of times in a non-destructive fashion. So with the mesh selected, we're going to come over to the Modifier Properties panel. We're going to add a modifier, and we're going to add an Array Modifier. So by default, your array will be added with these settings, which are going to control the number of times this object is duplicated, as well as how those duplicates are going to be spaced out from one another. So if we increase the count here, you'll see this cube is being extended farther out. But if you select this object and tab into edit mode, you can see that our cube's original vertices have not been changed. But we're rendering duplicates of this cube exactly next to the original in such a way that there is no space in between them, which is making this appear as a rectangle in object mode, rather than as multiple cubes. Now, this is driven by this setting here where it says relative offset, which is enabled by default. And under here where it says factor x of 1. A 1 in this field is saying that every duplicate we make in this array is going to be offset by exactly 1 of the original object in the positive x direction. We can see what this means by clicking the increase arrow in the factor x field. Now this will increase this value by 0.1, so we can see that these cubes are now being separated by a little bit of space. So what Blender is doing with this relative offset is looking at the length of this object along the x-axis. It is adding 0.1 or 10% of that length, and then it is rendering the next cube starting at 1.1 times the length of this object in the x direction. Note that by changing the length of this original object by tabbing into edit mode, pressing S and then X along the x-axis will change not only the scale of these cubes, but also the relative spacing in between them. This is because a relative offset is a function of the length of this original object in the x direction. Now changing the x factor to 0 would snap all the duplicates back onto the original, because we're essentially telling this modifier to make this many duplicates and move them this much, which is to say, not at all. Moving these sliders up and down will move the duplicates along the axis indicated. Positive numbers will move it in one direction, and negative numbers will move it in the other. We can move it along any of these axes simply by changing the values in these axes inputs here. Positive and negative following the Cartesian coordinate system. Adding values to multiple fields will move each duplicate in the array in all these values before making the next duplicate. Now we can also offset these objects using a constant value in world units rather than the relative length of this object. To do this, we first want to disable the relative offset option by unclicking this bubble here. And we want to come down to where it says constant offset and enable this here. Let's click this arrow to view the settings. Now you will be given these same offset sliders, but now they are going to be in world units. So with a default cube, a constant offset of 1 meter draws the next one right next to the first. But you may be like, wait, this cube is 2 meters long on the x. What gives? Well, remember that all modifiers are driven from the point of origin of our mesh. So this origin, which is exactly in the center of our cube, is also exactly 1 meter from the edge of this mesh in the positive x direction. So a constant offset is drawing the start of this next cube exactly 1 meter away from this point, which gives it a spacing of 0. We can change the distance of any of these by pulling these sliders out in exactly the same way we do for relative. In addition to setting the number of duplicates manually by using the fixed count and increasing the number, if we set the fit type to fit length, we can tell Blender to make however many duplicates we need using our relative spacing until it reaches a length in world units that we set, and then we're going to stop the array. So if I needed to fill up a 10 meter space, but I didn't know exactly how many cubes I needed to do that, I could use the fit length option and Blender would calculate that for me. Now, it is also possible to create array around another object. To do this, we need to disable both relative and constant offsets. We'll get this warning message saying the offset is too small. That is because we just do not have an offset enabled right now. Let's change it back to fixed count to disable that. So now we have 3 cubes being drawn exactly on top of one another. Now, we need to come down here and enable object offset to see what this does. To use object offset, we need another object in the scene to work off of. Now, we could do this with the mesh object, but I actually think that would be a little bit confusing, and I've personally used the object offset option plenty, but I have never used a mesh object as the basis for the array modifier. So instead, we're going to be using what is called an empty object. So let's just hide our cube right now. In Blender, an empty object is basically what it sounds like. It is a way to create an object in Blender that has no mesh information, so it won't show up in final renders. So we've hidden our cube, and now to add an empty object to our scene, in the 3D viewport, we're going to bring up the Add menu the same way we do for Mesh. We're going to hit Shift and A. But instead of adding a mesh, we're instead going to come down here to where it says empty and add a plain axes empty object. You'll get this object that is just made of these 3 lines that are aligned to the axes of the world. Now you'll notice that you cannot tab into edit mode for this object. And that is because this object is not made up of vertices, edges, and faces the way a mesh is. This object is just a visual placeholder to save this location in a way such that we can reference it again in the modifier. So let's show how that's done. Let's unhide our cube by either clicking the icon or pressing Alt-H to bring everything back. So to see how this works, we're gonna move this cube out a little bit. So let's grab it and move it forward a bit in the Y. Now, back in our modifiers panel, we're going to make sure that object offset is enabled, and we'll see that we only have one setting here, and that is for what object do we want to control this array modifier. So we want to control it with the empty. So we're going to put the empty in this input field either by clicking the drop down and selecting it from the list, or by using the eyedropper icon and selecting it from the 3D viewport. So now we are offsetting our array by the distance between this empty, which is currently being obstructed by this cube, and the original cube. And we can show you how this works. If you grab the empty, I'm selecting it here in the outliner because it's currently being obstructed, but I'm just going to press G to grab it. So now if I move this empty around, you will see how it affects the placement of our array of cubes. We can use object offset with rotation to duplicate this cube around a circle. In order for this to work, however, we need to move the pivot point of our original cube object to the same pivot point as our empty. So our empty has been added at the world origin. So all we have to do to change this pivot point is to apply the location. So this is not something we've covered before, but we have used the apply menu before with scale. So to apply the location, all that is going to do is going to snap this origin to the world origin without affecting the placement of the mesh in world space. So what this looks like, I'm going to, with the cube selected, press Shift and A, Control and A to bring up the apply menu. And instead of clicking scale the way we have done in previous videos, we're going to click location. This will snap the origin of the object into the world origin without moving this mesh in world space. Now you will see our array has disappeared, but really all that has happened is that the distance between this mesh and this empty is now 0 because it is reading it from the point of origin. So all of our duplicates are being stacked exactly on top of each other, which you can see if you grab the empty and just press G and move it around a little bit. You'll see that those arrays, those duplicates are still there. So just drop that empty back at the origin, and now instead, we're going to select the empty, we're going to hit R to rotate, and we're going to hit Z for the Z axis, and now we're going to just rotate this around. Maybe this would be a little more clear if we had a few more cubes. R and Z, and rotate this around. Here we go. And now you can see it has created an array in a perfect circle around this empty object. The array modifier is extremely useful for working with rows of identical objects, as now I can tab into edit mode on this cube and I can edit it in any way I see fit, and you will see that it affects, those changes are affected throughout the entire array. So that is it for the array modifier. Next up, we're going to put all of these skills we've learned about the simple modifiers we have gone over to the test. We're going to do a demo using Booleans, arrays, plus everything we have learned up until now. And in the next chapter, we're going to cover how to import and use reference images to create models from reference.